Let's talk about the biggest lie you've ever been sold, the American dream. You've been told to work hard, get a good job, and climb the ladder. But what if that ladder is broken? What if the whole game is rigged? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome to Rich Uncle Bob. So here's the deal. Rich Uncle Bob learned something that changed his entire relationship with money. And honestly, it's something most people will never figure out because they're too busy following advice that keeps them broke. Today, we're exposing the truth and showing you the new dream.
You know, the comedian George Carlin wasn't really joking when he said this. He was dropping a truth bomb. The question is, are you awake yet? Because for millions, the alarm clock is ringing and the dream is turning into a bit of a nightmare.
I know. That's a heavy statement. But you can't build a new future until you tear down the old lies. So first, we have to understand the promise that defined success in this country for generations and why it's now officially dead.
Let's go all the way back to 1931. The original idea, it sounds pretty good, right? It wasn't about mansions and Lamborghinis. It was about a fair shot. A system where your talent and your hustle, not your zip code or your parents' last name, was what mattered. A beautiful idea, but that's all it is now, an idea.
Here's the cold, hard reality check. In the game of climbing the economic ladder, what they call social mobility, the U.S. comes in at a pathetic 27th place. 27th. That means in 26 other developed countries, your chances of getting ahead are statistically better. So much for the land of opportunity.
So there it is side by side. The promise was simple. If you work hard, you will get ahead. But the reality is that the rungs on that ladder have been pulled so far apart that most people can't even reach the next one. And that brings us to the real gut punch. What's happening to your paycheck?
That's right, your paycheck is lying to you. It might be going up a little bit each year, but it's not telling you the real story about your wealth. Let's break down why that single 9-to-5 income stream is no longer the path to getting rich. In fact, it's the path to staying broke.
For our parents' generation, this was it. This was the foundation of a stable life. But with the cost of everything exploding while wages barely budge, that solid foundation has turned into quicksand. You're working harder just to stay in the same place.
Now look at this data from JP Chase. This chart tells you everything you need to know. After that little bump in 2022, your real income growth, that's your money after inflation has taken its bite, has completely cratered. It's at the lowest point it's been in about a decade. The simple truth, your paycheck might be bigger, but your money is worth less. You are getting poor. And guess who's getting slammed the hardest? Young people. If you're between 25 and 29, you are feeling this slowdown more than anyone. This is the time you're supposed to be building your career, getting promotions, and making moves. Instead, the system is putting up a brick wall. So what happens when the game is rigged? Simple. Smart people stop playing, and they invent a new one.
And here it is. This isn't just some cute little trend for extra cash anymore. This is a full-blown economic rebellion. The side hustle has become the real American dream for a generation that was sold a broken one.
Just look at that number, 39%. We're talking nearly 4 out of every 10 people in this country. That is millions upon millions of people saying no thanks to the old way. They're driving for Uber, building online stores, freelancing their skills. They're taking control back after their day job is over.
And yeah, it's happening everywhere, across every generation. But it's Gen Z and the millennials who are really leading this charge. Why? Because they have to. For them, a side hustle isn't a hobby, it's a lifeline. It's a core part of how they plan to build any kind of wealth.
Now, why are they doing it? Well, it breaks down into 2 big camps. On one side, you've got pure necessity. People are hustling just to pay rent, buy groceries, and keep the lights on. It's about survival. But on the other side, you've got ambition. People who want to build new skills, people who want to travel, people who want to finally work on something they actually care about.
So, we know millions of people are hustling. But here's the dirty little secret. Most of them are failing. Or at least they're not making any real money. So let's talk about what separates the winners from everyone else. This is the playbook.
Get a load of this. A survey from Side Hustle Nation found that a tiny, elite group, just 5%, are clearing over 10 grand a month from their hustle. Meanwhile, more than half of everyone else is making less than $100. Think about that. The gap between the top and the bottom is absolutely massive.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is that 5% doing that the other 95% are not? It's not about working 20 hours a day. Trust me. It's about working smart, so listen up, because here is the playbook the winners use.
First, they are masters of their time. They don't find time, they make time.
They build a schedule and they stick to it with brutal discipline. Second, they build a network. They're constantly connecting with people because they know your network is your net worth. Third, and this is the big one, they solve $1,000 problems, not $10 problems. They're not wasting time on tiny tasks. They focus on high-value projects that clients will pay big money for. And finally, they are never, ever done learning. They're always picking up new skills so they can charge more and deliver more value.
Now, before you run off and try to do all that, there's a final piece of the puzzle. A warning, really. Because this drive, this ambition, if you're not careful, it will burn you to the ground.
Seriously, we talk about financial freedom, but what's the point if you trade it for your health and your sanity? Burnout is real, and it's the biggest threat to anyone trying to juggle a job and a side hustle. And these right here are the red flags. If you are feeling completely wiped out all the time, if you're starting to hate the work you used to love, if you feel like you're just spinning your wheels and getting nowhere, or if you've stopped enjoying anything in your life, you need to pay attention. That is your body telling you to pull back before you crash.
And that leads to the most important point of all. The author, Susie Moore, said it perfectly. The whole point of a side hustle is freedom. You are the boss. You set the schedule. It is supposed to add to your life, not become your entire life. Never forget that.
So let's wrap it up with this one question. The old American dream is on life support, but a new one is rising from the ashes. It's built on your terms, with your skills, on your time. Yeah, your 9-to-5 pays the bills. It keeps you alive. But what are you going to build to actually feel alive? What are you going to build to buy your freedom? Now here's the thing. Rich Uncle Bob didn't figure this out overnight. It took years of making mistakes, following the wrong advice, and finally waking up to how money actually works. But now, he's sharing these lessons so you don't have to learn them the hard way. If this opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button, because there's a lot more where this came from. And trust me, the next one might just change everything for you.
Let's talk about the biggest lie you've ever been sold, the American dream. You've been told to work hard, get a good job, and climb the ladder. But what if that ladder